Are you ready for the biggest fantasy baseball draft weekend of the year? Today, Matt and I will make sure you know what players you can't leave your draft without. So lock on in and be ready for today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Sports Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source for fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I am your host, Dominic Martino, here with my brother, my co-host, Matthew Arne.
Yo, Merry Christmas, everybody.
You can find us on all podcasting apps and social media platforms. Just search for Locked On Fantasy Baseball and we'll be there. If you listen on Apple, Spotify, or anywhere that allows ratings and reviews, and if you leave us a little 5-star rating and write a little review, it goes a long way to help the outreach of the podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already, please be sure to hit the little subscribe button. It will notify you every time a new episode drops. Also, throw us a like and a comment because we love to talk fantasy baseball with you. Guys, I know I say this every episode, but, we truly appreciate all of our fans. And even if you're new here and you happen to like the podcast, we just ask if you could share it with a friend or two or three that also plays fantasy baseball, or just a friend that likes baseball in general, because Matt and I are getting very close to that 1,000 subscriber mark here on YouTube, and it means the world to us if you could just help our outreach grow a little bit, and, we appreciate all of you. And today's episode is brought to you by the Gametime ticket purchasing app, the best place to buy tickets for your favorite sports team, musical artist, and more. Download the Gametime app now, and trust me, you won't be disappointed. So, guys, Matt and I, we finally made it here. We're doing our My Guys episode, players that Matt and I have drafted a bunch this season, and guys that we just think that you shouldn't leave your draft without. So make these guys targets. And, Matt, let's not bury the lead. Let's get it started here, brother. I'm excited.
Yeah, and you know what? With this episode, I guess it's proof in the pudding, because who we're going to open up with is pretty much the guy we've been not leaving a single mock draft with.
If you guys know us, I think you know where we're going here.
It's the Italian breakfast himself, Vinnie Pasquantino.
Vinnie P, baby.
Yeah, buddy. I mean, you know what? He's one of my guys this year. I love him. I think he's going to be phenomenal. If you haven't already heard me rant about this dude. So let me get into it. Let's talk about Vinnie P, right? In 258 at-bats, my guy had 25 runs, 10 bombs, 26 ribs, a stolen base, and batted .295, right? That's phenomenal, right? I'm all about that. That potential for what he did in that short stint in the bigs, which is maybe like a month and a half of playing time. 10 bombskis, 10. Yeah, this kid got power upside out the wazoo, and he showed it his whole minor league career. I mean, in 2021, my guy had 437 at bats. He had 37 doubles, 79 runs, 3 triples, 24 bombs, 84 ribs, 6 stolen bases, and still batted a beautiful 300. I mean, the kid was great. His stint in the Baseball World Classic was great for Team Italy, and what he was doing in spring training was great too. With 12 at-bats, 3 runs, a home run, 4 ribs, and, batting .333. The kid is consistent. He's going to be a 4-tool guy, and he's going to hit the lights out of the ball, and it's just going to be great this year. So don't leave your drafts without Vinnie P, the Italian breakfast himself.
Yeah, Matt, you killed that one. I'm just going to throw it out there just so the fans know. He's currently coming off the board, according to Fantasy Pros ADP, as the 7th first baseman, pick 94. If you got to go a little bit higher than that, I have Vinnie P ranked as my 6th first baseman. I finally put him over Jose Abreu. So if you want to take him around pick 80, pick 85, and you want to just jump him a little tiny bit, that's how you're going to walk away with the kid. I know he's been flying up draft boards recently as we've been going along. So once again, just make sure you have Vinnie P on your team, before you walk away from your draft, and you will certainly not be disappointed. But let's move on here and let's talk about, I got the Yankee gear on today. I came prepared for this one, and it's Aaron Judge. Now, I know Matt might not agree with me here, but I think Aaron Judge is just going to be the best fantasy baseball player for, the whole MLB out of everybody, as long as he stays healthy. He's an absolute unit. Once again, I think the only thing he's fighting against is his health. But last year, Aaron Judge stayed healthy. And if you don't remember what Aaron Judge did last year, I don't know if you watched too much baseball, because Aaron Judge played 157 games, 570 at-bats, 133 runs, 28 doubles, 62 bomb skis, 131 RBIs, 16 steals, and he hit 311. And he's just continuing to do the same in spring training. In spring training, he's been hot too. In spring training, it's 12 games for Aaron Judge, 29 at-bats, 6 runs, 6 doubles, a home run, 4 RBIs, and he's hitting .345 with 6 strikeouts and 4 walks. So he's seeing the ball very, very well. I think he's saving a little bit of the bomb skis for the regular season, even though he's got those 6 doubles as well. And right now, Aaron Judge is coming off the board as pretty much the number 1 overall player. But I'll put it to you like this. If you got the first pick, I would say don't overthink it. Just take Aaron Judge. Unless it's a dynasty or a keeper, then things change a little bit. But also in an auction, right? If you're doing an auction draft, throw the extra couple of dollars towards Aaron Judge. I just think he's absolutely worth it. Once again, the only thing that you're might have a problem with is his health, but he's been pretty healthy the last few years. So I would say just go out of your way, get Aaron Judge on your teams, and you're gonna see a nice little result. Almost a 5-tool guy if he can get you 10+ deals again this year, which he might be able to with the bigger bags.
So I mean, I like Aaron Judge. I don't know if I'm taking him number 1. And I understand why you would, but I'm more of a 5-tool guy, but I won't blame you if you did. And let me not, just crap all over your guys. So I'm just going to move on. It's fine. Let's go to a funner name, right? Somebody that everybody can kind of leave the draft with if they target him. And that's Mr. Logan Gilbert. Gilly, as we like to call him here. Every time he pitches, you just need a Bud Light because it's just so tasty. They're not a sponsor. But Gilly has just been incredible. He's one of those players, like I've been talking about, that had that great trend from his rookie year. And, the second year was just as good. In 185 innings, he had 174 strikeouts. He had a 3.20 ERA, 13 wins, and he had a 1.18 whip. That's incredible. I mean, Gilly has just been proven to be a good pitcher. And going into year 3, I don't think it's going to be anything different. If anything, I think he's going to take that step forward and just be even better than he's been. So, let's just look at the year before in 2021, right? He had an inflated ERA, which was not really pretty, but he was just dealing with a little crustiness. But everything else around him was pretty damn good. For 119 innings, he had 128 Ks, and he kept the whip down at the 117. So the only thing that was just really inflated was his ERA at 4.68, but his FIP was a 3.73. So I think he just had a struck of a little bit of bad luck. And he bounced right back and just really kicked it in the gear. And I'm really loving what he's doing, man. It's just so magical. And what he's doing in spring training, phenomenal. 12 innings, 3.55 ERA, 15 strikeouts. So that K per 9 is already back up. And whip is a 1.026. Gilly has not missed a beat from the offseason. And I think that he's ready to have that breakout year where he turns into a top 20 arm. So get him everywhere. Let's go, Gilly.
Yeah, right now, Logan Gilbert's coming off the board as the 31st starting pitcher, pick 107 overall. If you can get him as your number 4 starting pitcher, you're absolutely going to feel very, very good about it. As Matt said, he's that K per 9 is starting to bounce back up a little bit so far in spring training. Don't forget, he's got Robbie Ray, he's got Luis Castillo, and I'm sure all those great pitchers on that team are sharing knowledge, sharing information. And it's definitely paying off for Logan Gilbert so far. He's definitely somebody that I'm targeting as well, in all of my fantasy drafts that coming up this weekend. So, guys, I'm really excited by our new partner and sponsor of today's episode. That is the mobile game Ultimate Baseball GM. Ever dreamed of becoming an MLB GM and managing your own professional baseball franchise? Well, guess what? Your dream has come true. Manage every strategic aspect of your team play through the season and lead your team to glory. And in this game, you are responsible for managing your team's finances and hiring the right coaching staff, scouting and drafting players, and also managing those difficult personalities, navigating your franchise through free agency, and all the ups and downs of a baseball season. Ultimate Baseball GM is completely free and playable without Wi-Fi, so you can play on the go as you want, when you want. I've been absolutely hooked on this game since I've downloaded, and guess what? You can compete against your friends like Matt and I have been doing, and you and your friends should do the same. Locked On Fantasy Baseball listeners get 100% free boost to their franchise when using the promo code Locked On in the game store. So make sure to check it out. To download the game, you could visit probaseballgm.com as well as scanning the code or looking it up in the App Store. That's probaseballgm.com. Ultimate Baseball GM. Start your dynasty today. And guess what, guys? I got one more great sponsor for you guys here. Have you ever tried to buy tickets to see your favorite artist or sports team and wound up being stressed out by how much of a hassle it can be? Well, buying tickets should not be stressful. That's why you need to check out the Gametime app. Gametime is fast and easy way to buy tickets for all your favorite sports, music, and comedy acts. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have. Using the Gametime app is super rewarding with flashy deals and last-minute tickets, easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area, perfect images of the seats and the views that you will get from those seats. They have the lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, and also job loss protection. I mean, there's a reason it's the fastest growing ticket app in the country, guys. So download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Download the Gametime ticketing app right now, guys. So with that being said, guys, let's get back into the action and the reason that you're here. Let's talk about my boy, Kris Bryant. Now, Kris Bryant dealt with the plantar fascia and the back issues last year, which kind of limited to him to, a very few amount of games. That exact number of games he played last year was 42, unfortunately. But you know what? In those 42 games, Kris Bryant was pretty good. He had 160 at-bats. He had 28 runs, he had 12 doubles, 5 home runs, 14 RBIs, and he had that 306 batting average. So normally Kris Bryant steals, I'd say around 8 to 12 bases, and last year that plantar fascia limited him a little bit. So I think this year, as long as he's fully healthy, which he seems to be so far this spring, he'll even chip in some steals. So you should get almost, 4.5 categories out of Kris Bryant. And so far in spring training, he's been very, very good. Kris Bryant, 12 games of spring training, 28 at-bats, 6 runs, 9 hits, a double, 3 homers, 5 RBIs. He has 8 strikeouts to 5 walks, so he's seeing the ball very well, and he's got a .321 batting average. And the thing with Kris Bryant is, don't forget the hype when he went to Coors when he got signed to the Rockies. He's playing in Coors now. So I think he'll get a little boost in the home run department. I think he can get back up to 30-plus home runs. The runs in the RBI should be decent for him hitting third. I think he should be hitting third in that lineup, or maybe even second. I still think both the runs and the RBIs will be very, very good. And Kris Bryant's never really been, an injury-prone guy. He only had the 2018 season when he played less than 144 games. Every other year he's been over 144 games, which is pretty much a whole season. So I'm very excited to have Kris Bryant. I've got him in both of my big money leagues so far this year. And let me just snag you his ADP so you can kind of have an idea of where you should be targeting Kris Bryant. Right now, Kris Bryant is coming off the board as the 30th outfielder, so he's been gaining a little momentum. Pick 119 overall, so around pick 100, maybe like the 25th outfielder, maybe even a little bit early. I think that's the perfect time to get Kris Bryant. If you can get him as your outfielder 3, you're absolutely thrilled, but I wouldn't even be mad if he was my outfielder number 2.
Yeah, buddy. I mean, Kris Bryant is pretty much free in terms for this year, because I don't think after this year you're going to be able to get him so cheap next year. So just hop on the Kris Bryant train and you'll be happy. But let's move on here. Let's talk about somebody I truly love, and that's Triston McKenzie. Tristan McKenzie is another young stud that honestly everybody is pretty much in on. Last year, a lot of people weren't sure because of his size and how skinny the dude was that, you didn't know if he was going to be as effective as he was. Plus, the year before that, he really couldn't stay on the field either. It was actually kind of disappointing. But he came out last year and had a really good season. He pitched 191 innings, which is super impressive. And to back that up, he had 190 strikes. So he was right under that K per 9. He had 11 wins, a 2.96 ERA. And what can you ask anymore? And he had a sub-1 whip. I mean, can you ask any more from a second-year pitcher? Just let's go. Like, the upside for this kid can be absolutely phenomenal. Another young pitcher that I truly like that I think is going to take another step forward and going to continue to build off the seasons he had. Now, I don't know how much further he can build in the ERA department. If anything, we might see that dip back to maybe in the low 3s, but the Ks can come up. The whip is pretty much going to stay where it is. And the Guardians are getting better this year. So I think that the wins could be in a better position. Not that it's a predictive stat, like I keep saying, but I think he could be in a better position to pick up more wins this year. So Triston McKenzie as a whole is going to have a phenomenal season. I am scooping him up everywhere, unless I'm in a league with Dom, who just, likes to do some mean stuff to me. But other than that, Triston McKenzie, draft him with confidence. The guy is going to win you leagues.
Yeah, Triston McKenzie's coming off the board right now as the 25th starting pitcher overall, pick 85. If you're like Matt and you want to make him one of your guys, you jump him a little bit, maybe get him around pick 75. If you get him I would like to get him as my SP3 currently. That's where I'm kind of targeting him. And if you can get him there, it's an absolute steal on Triston McKenzie. I will say this, throughout his career, he's always been very, very stellar with his control. He's very, very good with it. On his career, it's 344 innings for McKenzie and a 102 whip, which is absolutely phenomenal. Triston, I almost started talking about the next guy. Triston McKenzie is definitely somebody that you need to target. So we were talking about Triston, and I almost said Christian, because next up we got my boy Cristian Javier, and I'm head over heels, man, guys. He's an absolute stud, and I think I underestimated how much everybody else loves him after the way he finished last year and the way he dominated in the playoffs, and he just finished the year very, very strong. So last year, the Astros pretty much let Javier loose, and his stuff is just incredible. But let me read you his numbers. Last year, Javier, as a 25-year-old, had 11 wins, 9 losses, 2.54 ERA across 25 starts, 30 games overall. So he came out of the bullpen for 5 games at some point during the year when they were trying to keep his innings in touch. 148 innings, 194 strikeouts, and an 0.94 whip. I mean, there's not much else you can say about the kid. He's like a Spencer Strider light, in my opinion, because Spencer Strider's coming off the board super, super high. But, Javier, you can still get him as the 18th starting pitcher, pick 60 overall. If you get him as your SP2, I think you're going to be absolutely thrilled, because I think Javier has SP1 upside. I think he's going to be a top 10 starting pitcher this year. And the thing is, with only 11 wins and 9 losses last year, being on the Houston Astros, I expect that to be a lot better. He could win you 16, 17 games, coming into this year. He's going to contribute in every starting pitching category there is. So there's not really too much else I could say about Javier. I have him ranked inside of my top 12 starting pitchers this year. Javier is just somebody that you absolutely need to have, and just feel disappointed like I did last weekend when I didn't get him on any of my teams.
Yeah, I mean, to draft Cristian Javier great over here, the greatness, I can't really give you my take yet, and there's a reason for that. Here at Locked On, we're super excited to talk about our new sports betting partner, FanDuel. It's the midway point of the NBA season, and now is the perfect time to download the app. New customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. So it's super easy to use, it's secure, and it's safe. So why wouldn't you use it, right? Then you can bet on everything from money lines, points scored, threes drained, and you can combine all those things in one bet for a same-game parlay. So don't miss your chance to get your first bet, no sweat first bet with your code. Well, you go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. to get started today. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Dom forgot to throw in a little banner under me, so I got a little
I was
thrown
on
off.
it. You beat me to it. You beat me to it.
I don't know. I was only about halfway into the read, but it's fine. It's fine. You know, this is what happens when you get a little guy that can't read a script, and have to do a banner at once. That's just me.
I was trying to get there. You beat me to it, my brother.
Bro, I'm sorry. You must have took the short bus into the podcast today.
I think I did.
But all right, let me tell you about Mr. Great here, Mr. Cristian Javier. I mean, Javi is just phenomenal. We've been waiting for him for like 2 years now. Astros pretty much just like dodgered him almost. You know, they sent him down. They gave him a little rotation spot. Oh, will he get it this year? Will he not? And finally last year it came to fruition where the guy got a shot. And, man, he took it. He ran with it because he was like, screw you guys. You ain't putting me in the bullpen anymore. We're done with this. And throwing a no-no in the World Series. How you doing? So, you know, Javi's just saying, I'm here and I'm ready to stay. So draft Cristian. He's going to do your thing. All right, let's talk about one of my favorite players now, Mr. Eloy Jimenez. Eloy is somebody that everybody, all the fantasy owners that had him over the last 2 years are probably pretty pissed with, right? The guy has had one of the worst lucks with injury, right? I mean, he's just so damn aggressive. And he's such a freak, too, because, he tore his pec and was back like 2 months earlier than he should have, and then he started hitting bombs. And then last year, he hurt something else and missed most of the season again.
Hamstring.
His hammy. He tore his hammy or some crap. And it's like, dude, just stop being so, like, inhuman, because then you find out you're human. Because if you could just stay on the field, you'd be great. And he's a good defender, too. Don't get me wrong. But this year, they're trying to reel him in a little bit. You're not going to play the field as much. We're going to put you in the DH a little bit more. We're going to make sure you stay healthy, my guy, so you can bring us to fantasy glory. And Eloy is going off really cheap. I think he's going off the board as like the 16th or 17th. 17th outfielder.
18th outfielder, pick 69 overall.
Right. So, like, Eloy, I feel for him is a deal because you know where I have him? And you may call me crazy, but, like, I'm loving the fact that he's my number 10 outfield this year. I think that he's going to have the season because now the team is getting behind the fact that we need to bottle this kid up and make sure that he takes care of himself out on that field. And they've had a talk. So, hey, Eloy, you want to play the field? You need to chill the hell out. So they're going to manage him. And I think this year's the year because let's just read off what he did last year in that short stint. In 292 at-bats, he had 40 runs, 16 home runs, 54 ribbies, and a 295 batting average, okay? What player is doing that in a quarter of a season? Not many, right? Like, legitimately, he is Nolan Arenado of the outfield. He is going to do exactly what you need him to do. Good batting average, a lot of home runs, a lot of ribbies, and a lot of runs. What else can you ask for? This kid is going to be great. Do not sleep on him. Leave your draft with Eloy, and you will thank me at the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm huge on Eloy, too. I have Eloy as my 11th outfielder. And if you watched any of our mock draft episodes that we did together, Matt and I took Eloy Jimenez in pretty much every single draft. I feel like the price is coming up a little bit, compared to where it was. Not as far as where he is in like outfield rankings, but pick 69. I mean, I definitely take him there. I definitely would, but I just something I've noticed that he was going a little bit cheaper a few months ago. But still, even if you want to take him at pick, I'd say 60 overall. Go out there and get him. He's the perfect number 2 outfielder that has number 1 outfielder upside. Just make sure when you're taking Eloy, you supplement in other areas to get a little bit more speed. Real quick, Eloy in 11 games during spring training, 23 at-bats. He's hitting 435. Now, the counting stats aren't necessarily great. He doesn't really have any bomb skis yet, but I think he's saving the bombs for the regular season. But what I do like to see with Eloy is 4 strikeouts to 3 walks. He's showing that plate discipline. And I just think, as Matt said, there's that big Eloy breakout season that's coming, and it very well might be this year. Now, let's talk about another guy that I'm super excited about. If you listened to the podcast last year, I recommended this guy from the jump, and that is Jeffrey Springs. Now, if you haven't been paying attention to spring training, right, and maybe you're you're not sure how Jeffrey Springs been doing, right? I think he's been the best pitcher in spring training this year because he started 4 games. He's 3 wins, no losses. He has yet to give up a run, so it's a nice, clean 0 ERA, 14 innings pitched, 24 strikeouts, 2 walks, and 5 hits, which gives him an ERA of 0.5. I mean, there's not much else you can absolutely ask for from any pitcher, no less Jeffrey Springs. And Jeffrey Springs last year at 29 years old had 9 wins, 5 losses, a 2.46 ERA, 33 games played, 25 of those were starts, 135 innings, 144 Ks, and the whip was a 107. So, I mean, I think you're just going to see more of the same this year from Jeffrey Springs. I think the Tampa Bay usually likes to be a little conservative with their starting pitchers. So maybe he gets 170 innings, but still that's going to be absolutely phenomenal. And I think that the thing with Jeffrey Springs is that the stuff is so good and he's finally being unleashed as a starting pitcher. So, I mean, there's no reason not to take Jeffrey Springs. Let me just grab you his ADP real quick so we could talk about where you should be targeting him. I know I got him in both of my drafts last weekend, and I walked away very, very happy. Right now, Jeffrey Springs is still going fairly low. The 48th starting pitcher overall, pick 150. I'll be honest with you. You take him around pick 125. I'm not even mad at you. You got him as your number 5 starting pitcher. You got potential of getting a number 3 even. That's how highly I think of Jeffrey Springs this year. Definitely somebody I need in all of my drafts this year.
Yeah, I mean, Springs is the guy for this year. He could be one of those next McClanahan or things like that because he trended really well. And I think that, his Tampa also just does very well with their young pitching, and you're seeing he's a product of that environment, and he is phenomenal. That K/9 is amazing, and if he could take even a step further, because we've seen it in the past where he's had way higher K/9 than he did last year. So if he can even bring that up and he gets 150 innings, like Dom said, you may see I don't know 180 strikeouts, 190.
Yeah,
it's
easily.
It's in the wheelhouse. And if you're getting that kind of production as your 5th pitcher, forget about it. This guy is going to be a steal this year. Let's go, Jeffrey Springs. Dom, so, I mean, you kind of our guy, and you kind of put him down.
He's both of our guy. He's both. I just think in a My Guys episode, we had to talk. Even though I've beaten this name to a pulp, I think we just got one last time. One last time before the season starts.
Yeah, just one last time.
It's Anthony Rendon, guys. If you've watched any of our episodes this off season, we've talked about Anthony Rendon about 800 times. So this is 801. Anthony Rendon. Let's start with the spring training numbers, right? Anthony Rendon's played 12 games so far, 30 at bats, 8 runs, 14 hits, 4 doubles, 2 bombs, 8 RBIs. 4 walks to 5 strikeouts and a 467 batting average. And if you play in those OPS leagues, I promise you, this is really his OPS. It's 1.329. So, I mean, it's one of the best OPSs that I've seen in a long time. And the thing is, Anthony Rendon's been banged up the last couple of years. I know, the wrist and, everything else. But let's talk about when Anthony Rendon was at his absolutely most dominant. It was from 2016 to 2019, and I'm going to give you this is just his baseline season over those 4 years. 146 games played, which is great, 537 at-bats, 94 runs, 42 doubles, 26 bombs, 101 RBIs, 6 steals, and a 299 batting average. So if I had to give you a guesstimate of what I think Anthony Rendon can do this year, 90-plus runs, 25-plus bombs, 90-plus RBIs, maybe he chips in 5 steals, but don't count on that. And he's going to hit close to 300. So you're talking about a 4-category guy that is still buried when it comes to ADP. Guys, I don't know how many times I have to tell you that you can get Anthony Rendon. Don't wait to take him as one of your last picks. But in theory, you could get him as one of your last picks. He's the 19th overall third baseman coming off the board, according to Fantasy Pros ADP. Pick 210, jump that to 175, and he'll be on all of your teams. Make sure you walk away with Anthony Rendon this weekend, guys, because if he stays healthy, he's going to be a top 100 player, if not a top 75 player. I don't know, man. Just take Anthony Rendon.
All right, you got a little sum right here.
Yeah, man. I don't know what everyone's doing. Like, I get that he was hurt, but geez, like the guy's showing he's healthy in spring training, hitting 400. Oh.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Dom's voice might be a little hoarse after that,
Yeah. No, it's
Family friendly show, so that's why I do it under the camera. So Rendon is going to be a great pick this year, even if you get him in a short stint. So even with the phalanges alert, he's free 99. So what's the worst that happens? If you can draft Byron Buxton this cheap, wouldn't you? It's the same thing with Anthony Rendon. So draft Anthony Rendon with confidence this year. And if he pans out and stays healthy, you got a league winning pick. So how you doing? So Dom, why don't you wrap this bad boy up?
Yeah, guys. So once again, take Anthony Rendon. But that's all. That's all for us today. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Guys, this one is the most important. Check out our website. Go to any of our social media platforms. Click the link tree. The first tab in the link tree is our website. It says website. Click it. You can find Matt and I's rankings there. What you can do is, if you got a printer, go to your printer, print them out, print them in landscape view. Make sure you print them out in landscape view because they will come out nice and clean and perfect. You take them to your draft with you, or even if you're drafting at home, you could have the tab open right next to you with our website, with the rankings. You can go back and forth. And, that's going to be very, very helpful to you with your drafts. Matt, I see you want to chime in, brother. Go ahead.
Since we're talking about that, keep a lookout on Twitter. I'm going to update them tomorrow at some point before we make our final ones for our draft for the weekend. So nobody can chime in, but I'm kidding about that. But anyway, so please make sure to keep an eye out on Twitter and Instagram and all that. And I'm going to post when I update them so you can have the most updated drafts. It will be done before everybody gets out of work tomorrow. So
there you go. And just real quick, our rankings are skewed towards 5x5 head-to-head category leagues and Roto. They're not really skewed towards points because points are so subjective. What I'll say about if you're in a points league and you want to use our rankings, just adjust naturally. Say, hey, if pitchers put up more points in my format last year, go a little higher on starting pitchers. If bats did, then, it pretty much works out because Matt and I's rankings are skewed towards, going a little bit more bat heavy. But guys, thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I think you should go and make your second listen. Let's go with Locked On Astros because you know what? Those guys over there know what they're doing. There's a lot of stuff going on with the Astros at the moment. There's a lot of fantasy relevant players on the Astros. So you want to get over there, check on Locked On Astros. They're available on all social media platforms and podcasting apps. Just search on Locked On Astros and they will be there. But guys, that is all for today. On Monday, we will be coming back with a spring training wrap-up episode, which will give you all of the, risers and fallers over spring training. We might throw out some guys that you should trade for when your drafts are done and guys to throw on your watch list as well. So look out for that episode on Monday. But guys, until then, see you.
Peace.